And we are back after a short but felt like long off season. Uh, Klon, we're already having issues trying to get this bad boy up and going. But man, wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world than talking NASCAR with you, dude.
No, dude, it's good to be back. I'm gonna look like I'm in a stop motion movie, I think, for the entirety of this episode. So apologies for
That's
that. But yeah,
great.
it's definitely the off season still. A lot of cobwebs here. Jeez.
We're working out the kinks. We haven't even had the clash yet or anything like
Yeah.
that. We just gotta, we gotta get back into the
That's right.
role here. That's all. I got a new setup here. I used to be against this wall with the camera facing that way, but now we've gone reverso, and me and Nikki have like redone the whole office here. Like our office used to be like my desk was against this wall, her desk was against that wall, and like we'd have our backs to each other. But then we're like, well, why don't we just like put both desks in the middle facing each other? That would make life a whole lot easier. So that's what we did. And now I've got my stop sign in my
Collaborative.
background here, my fireball sign over here, not sponsored, but hey, we're open to that. My
That'd be
signed
fun.
Packers hat, my Ohio State Buckeyes helmet, national champs, Klon. National
Dude,
champs.
that's a football team right there. I don't even have
Wow.
anything to tell you to try and give you a hard time. That's just yeah, they straight up went up and got it there. Yeah, impressive run for
It's
them. But
okay.
yeah, I was thinking
Our
about
boy
you there for a
Austin gave
while.
me a Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Our boy Austin gave me enough of a hard time, so don't you worry. I still got my hard time in there.
Appreciate that.
But man, how was the off season? You went and did some really cool stuff there. You want to kind of talk about some of the things you went and did, the races you went and saw, I should say.
Yeah, we so I guess maybe the last time we all talked to each other here on the podcast was I was probably just back from Key West. So we went from Key West to the holidays. I think everybody had a pretty smooth and easy Christmas this year on our end. But yeah, got to go to the Chili Bowl for the first time ever. That was pretty cool down in Tulsa. A small group of us got
Ooh.
to go check that out. So uh, kind of just lucky circumstances, fell into some tickets, or I guess you'd call him my uncle-in-law, technically fell into some tickets, but um, lucky enough to get to go with. And yeah, it's a blast, man. It truly is. Like I'm not a big, I guess I should, I don't know how to put it, I'm not the biggest dirt racing fan in the world. It's just never been my preference, but that was really fun, a really good time, and definitely something I think if you're a true, like, just across all disciplines race fan, you got to check it out once and just say you saw it, because it's the access and just, I don't know, just the environment. It's not like anything else I've ever seen, and I've seen my fair share of NASCAR races, and it's very different, but it's just as awesome. Like, and I'd argue there's things about it that are better. So it was great.
All right, I love it. High praise for the Chili Bowl. It's on my bucket list. I definitely want to go see that one. I
Yeah,
want to see. I think the two non what's the word here? I don't want to like talk down on it when I say this, but I think the two non like professional, but see again, I don't want to say like non-professional. I think the two non NASCAR races that I want to go
it's a
see
good way
for
to put it.
sure before I die. There we go. That's the way. Um, I guess I'll say three. The three races I want to go see before I die that are not NASCAR races are obviously the Chili Bowl. That would be so sick, especially because like the interaction that you get to have. I mean, you got to meet Christopher Bell and Kyle Busch was there.
Christopher
Kyle Larson won the whole thing, and
Matt
like
Kyle, yeah.
you
So
met
I
Kyle.
so Kyle Busch, yeah. We actually stood in line for the bathroom with him. That was fun. Talked to him for a couple minutes with my brother. That was cool. That's the thing, is like the
You
expo
did
center.
what? Hold on, you didn't even
Yeah,
mention that. You didn't mention that to me, and you
yeah.
didn't even mention that here on the podcast.
Well, I had to save some
What
of it
the
for
hell?
recording here, but yeah, I
Oh my gosh, you
figured
stood
it'd be
in
a good time
line
to
for the
drop it.
pisser with Kyle Busch,
Yeah, yeah. I talked to him for a little bit. Like, and that's the thing with the Chili Bowl, is like the expo center is only so
what,
big, so like
dude?
everybody has to go somewhere. Literally, like there's only so many places to go, and like, I mean, you saw his wife Samantha walking up and down the concourse. I don't even know if you want to call it a concourse, but like the concession stand area, literally, like she was walking around out there. I don't know. You saw different people too. Like there's others, but yeah, he was definitely one that wasn't afraid to just go out in the group and be with the people. Like he was just out there in his fire suit. He was dressed like Kyle Busch. Like he just got out of his race car. Like
Bro.
He's just out walking around. He's just doing people stuff, like normal human things. Like
Dude, that is
all
so
part of it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, you
Yeah.
can
No,
forever say you waited in line for the bathroom with Rowdy.
yeah. Yeah, no, dude, it's some my brother and I think every time we see each other now since we've gone, we bring it up. Like it's one of those like you had to pinch yourself when we were leaving. You just don't even like it was just so casual
What
when it
did you
happened.
talk?
Like
What'd you talk about?
we straight up like I don't know, like we were just standing there and all of a sudden like we weren't even really paying attention because the line was kind of long. We looked next to us, literally like my brother was brushing shoulders with him. It's a NOS fire suit, or I think it was he had his Lucas Oil one, the
Lucas,
blue one,
yeah.
like his cup car one, same thing. And it was like, holy shit, that's him. Like we just said sup and talked to him for a second. Like how we asked him how his car was, how the track was, whatever, and he wasn't super thrilled about it because he's Kyle Busch, is expected to win everything he touches, so understandable. But then I don't know if I asked him or if I told him, like, dude, you're going to win the 500 this year, kind of tongue in cheek. Looked right at me. He's like, dude, if I win the 500, I'm retiring at the end of the year. Like, this is it. He's like, I might retire on the spot. It's like,
what?
I think it was tongue in cheek again, like kind of that answer. So we just kind of
Yeah.
shot back and forth about that for a little bit, but that was pretty cool. So yeah,
So
just
is the
again,
so I guess that confirms it. I mean, I think the 500 is the only thing here he's kind of waiting on. He's always been really nonchalant about when he'll stop racing, though. I mean, he's kind of always talked about that. What's his son's name? I can't remember his son's name. Brexton.
Yeah.
Brexton.
He was there walking around. Like saw him one day too. Like just didn't go
That's so
talk to him or
cool.
anything. Obviously being a kid, but it's like, oh, yeah, they're all here. Like,
hey man, your dad's pretty cool.
Yeah, your dad's sweet. But no, yeah, it's I mean,
He's
you
like,
can
yeah, it's
definitely
my
tell
dad, bro.
like the dirt racing thing is something that like as long as Brexton's doing it, he'll keep doing it. But I don't think Kyle's leaving up anytime soon either. Like I saw he just signed like one of his sponsorship deals. They just signed this offseason's a multi-year thing. So I don't think he plans on leaving at the end of the year. I'm not trying to break news or anything and not
right.
No,
we're posting that on YouTube. Kyle Busch
Yeah.
announces retirement through Connor Huberty.
If he wins the
We got
500,
to.
yeah, like
If he wins the 500, Kyle Busch calling it a career. Not even going to finish the season.
Yeah, right.
That's what we got to put
like
out there.
just
That's
dropping the helmet
crazy,
and
dude.
leaving. But yeah, no, like it was fun. Like we just had a good casual conversation and went in the bathroom, and then that was the end.
I can't believe you didn't tell me that.
I honestly probably forgot to be honest with you. Like because it's one of those things. Like
you sent me pictures of you and Seabell. I saw that.
Well, I mean, we didn't rip any selfies with him walking into the bathroom, so we let that just go without a picture.
Do it in the bathroom. You stand next to him in the urinal.
Right.
Hey, Kyle, you mind if we get a mind if we get a picture real quick?
Right?
That was a great time.
But no,
that's
like,
awesome.
It was cool. Just something like we'll always have that. But I mean, that's the Chili Bowl in a nutshell, dude. Like, I mean, if for every one of those moments, there's probably 5 other ones other people had. You know, like that's.
So who else? Then who else did you meet? Did you meet Kyle Larson?
We walked. We said like, "Good luck, Kyle." He was walking in front of us, probably 5 feet. On Saturday, he was going down to do driver like something. I think they had a driver's meeting for the A main or something. He was walking down for. So he was in a hurry and trying to get somewhere, so we weren't trying to bother him, but just yelled at him.
Dude, you signed me up. I'll be going to the Chili Bowl. You just signed me up. I'm in.
Dude, I'm not kidding when I say like everybody that is a NASCAR fan, dirt racing especially, obviously you got to see it, but like, yeah, you got to go do it once. And I mean, we through friends we made at our hotel got to meet Tony Stewart's dad. Like I was decked out in Tony Stewart stuff every day, so didn't really hide that. But
no.
Yeah. So yeah, right. Exactly. So
I can't believe you were wearing Tony Stewart stuff. I thought you hated smoke.
Yeah. Right. No, that's the only thing I packed was like my whole wardrobe of him. But yeah, no. So I got to do that. That was sweet. And yeah, just a lot of cool. Like you just meet people. Like our hotels had a family, Cole Vanderheiden. I got to try and connect with him too here. He's like a younger high school kid running the Chili Bowl. His family was all there staying in our hotel. Like just cool stuff like that. I don't know. Like it was just, it feels as much like a county fair type racing event as you can have with Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch, Brad Sweet, all these guys just there, like
that's just crazy.
They fit the environment.
That's wild. Well, that sounds like fun. What an off season. We all had a great off season. We're We are T minus. So I guess this will release on Friday tomorrow. We're recording this on Thursday night. So we are at the moment when this comes out, we are T minus 2 days from the green flag being dropped on the 2025 NASCAR season. We made it, Klon.
We're back.
We made it.
Back.
We are so back. We're so back. It's not even funny.
And I was honestly kind of like questioning for a while when the season ended, like if the butterflies were going to come back this year. Just, I don't know, getting older and like having a kid now, like life is becoming a little bit different.
I feel like for you, it's going to come back even harder when your son gets old enough to, sit down and watch the full race with you and everything. Because I know, like, that's what my dad said. My dad was always kind of into NASCAR and was really into it when he was younger, but then like kind of went away from it a little bit. But then when I was a little kid, I got into it with my dad, and my dad really kind of just fell in love with it all over again. So I want you sitting there with him watching. I bet it's, you'll be right back to you feeling like a little kid watching again.
I agree. No, I hadn't thought about it like that, but you're probably right. And I think that's kind of what's been going on this year. Like I said, I didn't expect to get all excited like this. And here in the last week or so, I've been catching myself like just,
dude, me too.
Scrolling NASCAR stuff and dude. Like, I'm back. I'm all the way back.
Every single NASCAR post, every single NASCAR commercial, every single Daytona 500 commercial, especially.
Oh, it's the best. It does it every time.
Do you know how excited I am? Do you know how excited I am for the green flag to drop at Daytona? And the guys get through turn 1 and 2, and as they're coming down the backstretch, Mike Joy is like, let's crank it up. And then they all go silent.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Mike Joy.
That right? It was good stuff. Once Mike Joy retires, me and you, we'll just go in the booth. Me, you, Harvick, and Clint will call the races.
This is gonna be so. Yeah, I mean, hey, that'd be fun. Like to hang out with Clint. Heard he's a good time. So,
dude, Clint seems like so much fun. I feel like hanging out with Clint Boyer would be so much fun. But, anyways, we got to get to the point here. We've been going all over the place. Great, we're back. We're so back. We had a crazy offseason, though. I mean, even though there was no cars on the track, we were not void of crazy things happening. We've got a lawsuit that's, really just into the thick of it at this point. Corey LaJoie has really just sparked the NASCAR world in the last couple of weeks. Mark Martin's balls even sparked the world 3 weeks ago. And I'm going to ask you some questions here about potential rookie of the year, early champs, and who's going to win this weekend. So let's get into it.
Let's let it rock, man.
Let's let it rock. Mark Martin's balls. Okay, so 2311 and Front Row Motorsports lawsuit. To start out here, we're really in the thick of it. I mean, up to the neck at this point. We've got to the point where the two teams, Front Row Motorsports and 2311, have both been cleared for them to operate as if they have charters, and they were able to go through with purchasing the SHR charters to get all that going. So I guess just for you, what's been your reaction to this offseason? There's been a lot that's happened. The judge at first, it seemed like, wasn't really in their corner, and then toward the end of that first, section, I'm not a law student by any means. I'm not a lawyer by any means, but
I work in legal and I still don't know half the stuff we're talking about. So
obviously, I know you're not gonna be able to break this down in a legality standpoint, but just kind of your reaction to the guys getting their charters, being able to operate, and also being able to purchase their charters from Stewart-Haas.
Yeah, I think when this thing originally started, I wanted there to be like fireworks, I guess is what you'd call it. As a result of it, I thought maybe the stick it to the man type scenario was coming for 2311, and Front Row. But I think the more that goes on here and the more you read into it, now they've been allowed to purchase the charters and they're in the 500 and everything like that. For a while, they weren't supposed to be guaranteed spots and the whole deal, whatever. I think it's going to kind of smooth out, honestly, like without there being major turmoil, if that makes sense. It sounds like from what I was reading, we won't have a final decision on the case, like a ruling from a judge, until the end of this season. So going to sit on it here for quite a while and hear things from both sides, I'm sure. But I don't expect there anymore. I don't expect there to be much change. Like I think there might be a little bit of more regulation surrounding the charters. There's going to need to be a little bit more of a rule about, when you can sell them, who owns them, how long you own them, what it means to have one kind of thing. But other than that, I don't think we're going to see a massive shift. Like NASCAR's not going to go away and leadership's not going to get thrown out. And Denny Hamlin's not going to get forced to sell his team or anything. But it'll be, I think there'll be a little bit of change, teams alike, but that'll be about it.
Yeah, I think that this will be something that will be a talking point at times throughout the season, especially if there is a situation where, let's say the 45 or 23 or 11 car or the 38, any of the cars involved get a harsh penalty, anything like that. I think that's when we could see more of something from this situation. I think it's just kind of
Yeah.
one of those things where it's going to be there until the end of the
That,
season. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's very interesting. That's one thing for sure.
yeah,
It's something that I think
doesn't happen
has the
often.
no. Michael Jordan doesn't just sue your sports league very often. That's
Yeah, no, yeah,
that's not
specifically
very
NBA.
typical.
It's
Yeah.
making for some fire paint schemes, I will say. Tyler
It
Reddick's car this weekend is going to be
oh
awesome.
man.
What a fun little subliminal message. Not really all that subliminal, I guess, but pretty much a slap in the face. But it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I guess then, do you think this becomes a distraction for any of the guys at this point? That let me say this first before I ask that question. That question I think is going to be the most asked question this
Yeah,
entire season. Is this a
yeah,
distraction? Is this a distraction? Is this a distraction for Denny from him trying to win his first and only championship? Is this a distraction from the guys at 2311, the crewmates? If there's a jackman who misses on a pit stop or something happens or there's a miscue from a crew chief in one of the two camps, that is the first thing that's going to happen. Is this a distraction? Is this whole thing a
yeah.
distraction? So I guess I want to ask you to see what you think. Do you think this becomes a distraction at all, or do you think this is just going to be a statement that, or a question we're hearing all season that doesn't really matter?
I think it's a lot to do about nothing for the most part. I think the only person that I could see understandably having a distraction with it, or being distracted by it, I should say, is Denny, because he's really like one of the only players in the legal case involved in a race car at the same time. So, that's not to say like Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Zane Smith, all those guys. Like the drivers are all technically involved, but they're not actually sitting through the litigation and working on putting their case together and all that stuff. So I
Right.
don't think it really bothers those guys. You just show up and drive the car and do that thing where
Yeah.
Denny's got to play both sides. So I could see that being a little bit tougher mentally.
Sure. I think it is, but also, I mean, Denny also, I feel like, handles so much stuff with NASCAR with
Right.
really being the spokesperson of our I don't want to say league, it's not a league, but of our league, we'll just say that. Um
Might as well.
he just,
Not
he's
anything he hasn't faced before.
right. So I feel like he's, with the podcast, there's already been a lot of things with that, with distractions and stuff from that, with penalties coming down through the podcast because of things he said afterwards that were overheard. I think that he is a guy who can handle that load of
Yeah,
handling this lawsuit and also driving the car. So I mean, if anybody's going to do it, I have the utmost faith that Denny is that guy that could pull this off to where he
agreed.
figures it out. Um, but speaking of distractions, Corey LaJoy is is a distraction for other drivers on the track, and is also has really been making headlines here recently with some of the decisions he's made this offseason and some of the things he said this offseason. And I just kind of wanted to get your reaction to it with everything involving Corey saying, because he had a tough year last year. He's had a tough couple of years here. And every year everybody says, okay, this is the year that I think he takes that next step. This is the year I think he takes the next step. This is the year he takes that next step. Like, we've heard this for years and years now, and there really hasn't been that step. And now it's gotten to a point where he was taken out of the 7 car last year for Justin Haley and had to swap over to a different team, and ultimately did not end up winning that ride over. So now a lot of people, I think, headed into this offseason, we're really expecting him to run trucks full time or run Xfinity full time. And we found out just recently that's not the plan. And he also said that he is going to be running a part-time cup schedule and calling races, which is very interesting. But my question for you is kind of, where does he go from here with this? And what was also your reaction to his comments about not wanting to race on Fridays and Saturdays and only wanting to race on Sundays?
I I've gone both ways on it, honestly, since you said it earlier this week. Like I've played both sides and tried to understand both. You see just about every argument on Twitter, and there's some pretty spirited debates about what he said too. Um, I, he's such a unique case. Like I understand what he's saying in his quote. He said something like nobody cares about Friday and Saturday. Everybody cares about Sunday. That's where the money's at. Like, yeah, we get it, and I understand that. Like, you're not wrong. He's not saying anything incorrect, but from a career standpoint, the guy doesn't have a win in any of the 3 national series. He really, as far as I can remember, has not ever had a car that competes for wins in any of the 3 national series. Like, he's never run up front consistently in anything that I've remember seeing. So really overall, like I understand if you're only in this to make money and you want to, say you raced on Sundays and be a back marker and run 25th to last every weekend, like, yeah, he's doing it fine. Like that's one way to go about your career. That's great. But I mean, I've seen other guys do it where getting into cup in a not so great car and bounce around a little bit and get used to running 30th. A lot of those guys that we've seen have success. They go back to Xfinity series, like John Hunter Nemechek's a guy. I know he hasn't come back and had massive success in cup, but you kind of just we say it all the time in past episodes here. We talk about other guys, but you just find how to win races and compete. And he's not going to do that driving the 0-1 part-time. And like you said, TV, I don't see how this leads to like a full-time cup ride. Like, to be honest with you, I don't, this is, to me, it looks like it's the way to land the plane on your career and call it good. And I just don't, it's just such a weird, like, he's not that old. He's got sponsorship backing. Like, I don't know, going to drive that 19 truck that was rumored to be one of his options. That sounds like a pretty good idea in my book, but it is what it is. I'm not him.
It was just a championship contender. It's not a bad ride by any means.
No, a truck that's literally won races. And I just, for Corey, like, especially Corey, the other weird thing I guess that I'll bring up is like how it just sounded like he was talking down to the Xfinity and Truck Series. Like, it just kind of came across as like a little bit passive aggressive towards them. His dad was one of NASCAR's top 75 drivers all time, and definitely had a substantially better Busch Series nationwide Xfinity career that he did Cup. Like, he made it because he was a great Saturday driver. So I just don't know. Like, do you not credit your dad's career to anything? Like, or not give it any credit, I should say, because it just feels, I don't know, just weird.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting take, and I think this is one of those situations where obviously he's very passionate about this and obviously wanting to drive cup full time. But like, that opportunity is going away, and I think he probably just said some stuff that probably shouldn't have, but looking back on it now, he probably didn't mean it that way. And also to Kenny Wallace's point, I don't necessarily think that he's wrong on some circumstances, not trying to poo-poo the, Saturday racing or the Friday racing or anything like that. Absolutely not trying to do that. But it is true. There is a lot more, if you go to Daytona, let's say Daytona, for example, if you go to Daytona in 3 weeks and you're sitting there on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there will be a noticeable difference in fans on those 3 days. It's just the way it goes. And that's for any race, and while he may, he was definitely exaggerating when he said there's 15 people in the stands on Saturday. Sure.
Right.
I think that after you run Cup for so long, there's also a certain sense of pride that comes with that it's almost like if a varsity player, I hate saying this too, I do not mean this in a disrespectful way when I say it, but it's almost like if a varsity wide receiver was asked to go play JV for a senior season. You know what I mean? It's just like,
my only argument for that is like, yeah, I would feel disrespected if I had won a cup race or
It's
like
true.
made the playoffs. Like
Very true.
he's
That
he's
that
never
absolutely.
been good. Like that's and that's no disrespect. I mean that like in a vacuum, obviously, just looking at his statistics, he's obviously a
Right.
better driver than I am, but he he hasn't done anything that says like, oh yeah, bona fide cup everyday guy. Like he's been a fringe cup guy his whole career. Like could have lost his ride any year. Did lose his ride a few times, not necessarily by his choice, but it just doesn't add up to me to not see it as, he's what, probably low 30s, probably 33 right now. Like has a good 10, 15 years of driving left in him if he wants it. And you're in a position here for a year or two, you could run one of trucks. The 19 truck's as good as we all think it is. You should be competitive enough. You probably get a full-time Xfinity ride, get the most out of the Xfinity ride in 26. By 27, you could be back in Cup. Who knows who's retiring? There's a few other old guys and some top tier equipment. You might
Yeah.
snag a ride.
I mean, Kyle Busch, you look at that. I mean,
Denny,
yeah, Denny. That's a JGR ride too. That would be crazy.
that's just what I
Yeah,
mean.
there's a
Like
lot of guys.
there's just, if you want to be the best race car driver you can be, and like I think that's as an athlete of any kind or a race car driver, that's what you're trying to do. You want to get better and improve yourself and have success and do it at the highest level. Which, no disrespect to Rick Ware, but this part-time 0-1 car, he's not going to finish better than 20th.
No, I feel like 20th would be. I would be shocked, honestly. Unless it was like a super speedway race where everybody wrecks out, and at the very end, a super speedway, because that was the one place where he was at least somewhat good. Was he had some success at the super speedways? So not barring a crazy good super speedway finish where a lot of guys wreck out, he's in the right place at the right time, strategy works out. Barring that, the best finish that car's going to get all year is 25, 26. Like that is, and that's
Yeah, and
pushing it. Like
I think the
that's
part-time schedule's out, the races he's declared to run. Maybe not. No, I'm thinking of somebody else. Never mind. That's not out yet. But he's gonna run like Talladega, he's gonna run Atlanta, like, yeah, drafting
all the
tracks
super
where,
speedways, 100%.
yeah, like, and that's the only place you'd ever consider picking him, in a pool of any kind, or anything you needed, a dark horse for something. Yeah, like to your point, you gotta give him some credit. He was decent there, but I mean that's just like that's the end of his story. I don't know, the more I talk about it now, I am getting frustrated about it again because it just isn't what I wanted from him. But again, not him.
It's
Not gonna
honestly it's
make his
disappointing.
decision.
It is because like
Yeah.
with these drivers, as fans, you become so attached. You are like, man, like I want Corey LaJoy to succeed. I like NASCAR with these legacy families like the Earnhardts, like the Blaneys, like seeing those
Mhm.
guys come through and do the things their dads did. Like it's really cool and it adds to the story.
Yeah,
Like
like,
everybody wants Corey to succeed here, but it's just like, man, you can only
how
shoot
awesome
yourself
would
in the
it be
foot.
if he could say he and his dad both won Xfinity championships? Like,
That would be
wouldn't that
so
be
awesome.
sweet to say you won this?
Very
I
awesome.
know, I know if he could win a cup, that'd be sweet, like, to have that against your dad's
Sure.
resume, but, I mean, given your circumstances right now, I feel like that's a pretty cool outcome in all this, is you could go win one of those, and there, look at all the guys from around that era that have one or two Xfinity championships, or I guess at the time, like Busch Series, and how highly do we think of them? Like, I think of Dale Jr. as a better driver because he has two Busch Series championships. Like, you feel it. You got to give it some sort of credit. Not like that's part of it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Junior, real quick, I wanted to throw this in. Obviously, Junior Motorsports making their first ever Cup, hopefully first ever Cup Series start. As long as they can qualify in for the Daytona 500, they'll have the number 40 Traveler Whiskey car there, which is also sponsored by Chris Stapleton. So that's pretty cool. And it's going to
Yeah.
be driven by none other than the awesome, incredible, so happy for him, just became champ, Justin Allgaier. So that's going to be
Yes.
really cool to see Justin out there. Speaking of Xfinity guys who've made a great career in Xfinity, Justin Allgaier is a great example of that. He's
Perfect.
had a great career as an Xfinity driver. One of the guys who went up to Cup, tried it, didn't really work out, came back down, and has had a wildly successful Xfinity career. Finally won his first championship. Super happy about that. But
Yeah, no, it was,
there we go.
honestly, yeah, good to hit on that because I don't think we hit on that hard enough when it happened. But yeah, no, good for him, and yeah, an awesome, cool little reward to go run the 500. Hopefully, so that'd be sweet.
Yeah, and it's cool to see junior motorsport. This is I saw a I don't know, I think I sent this to you as well on Instagram, but I saw an Instagram post where it was like it showed a guy like smiling and looking at the screen, and it said, "My face when I realized that an Earnhardt-owned car will be in the 500 again." I was like, "That's cool.
That
That's
is
cool."
cool. I didn't even
I'm
think of
I
that.
miss
Yeah, that's awesome.
I miss DEI and all that stuff. It's gonna be so cool to see junior motorsports out there. So hopefully they can have a good run there. And another guy, Martin Truex, is gonna be out there. My question for you, real quick: if
Dude.
Martin Truex comes out and let's say he were to win the Daytona 500. You've now won the first race of the year. You've raced in every race so far. You are playoff eligible and have a spot in the playoffs. Is there a chance that Martin Truex Jr. would return for another season if he won the Daytona 500
No
and
way.
was playoff eligible?
No way.
You don't think so?
No. No.
It would be a long
We
shot. It would be a long shot
we
for him to even win it. But if he does, dude, he's got another shot.
I think it'd be interesting to see what kind of decision he makes if you're like coming off of the high and you make the decision with not like necessarily 100% clear mind. Maybe he would, but he's got to be thinking about that mid-July Sunday afternoon. You could be by the water fishing, and instead of fishing, he's at the racetrack and he has finishes 15th, 20th. Like,
Yeah.
no chance.
Yeah. He will think of that. And then, yeah, that poor guy. Man, the season just went so bad for them last year.
Oh, yeah, not great.
That was tough. I don't know. I'm gonna miss Martin, and I'd love to see him out there again. That would be so cool. I haven't even seen a race without him yet, and I'm already upset that he's gone. But with Martin leaving, there's new rookies coming in, new guys taking new rides. We've seen obviously Martin's ride gets filled with Chase Briscoe. We saw Ryan Preece switch over to RFK, which I thought was a really good jump for him.
I think that'll be cool. Yeah, I think that'll be
Yeah,
a good spot.
SVG is coming up to the Cup Series. He'll be racing in the 80. The 88 will be back on the track again this year for Trackhouse. So that's going to be cool. This NASCAR season is, I mean, already it's
Gonna
got
be
me
fun.
giddy. It's got me giddy.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to
Right.
go. I can't wait. But of those guys coming in, for the 2 Rookie of the Year potential guys, Riley Herbst will be taking a 2311 chartered car. So he will be bumping up to the Cup Series and SVG as well. My question for you, sir, which of those 2 wins the Rookie of the Year?
It's a weird answer. So I want to say Riley, but because it's a 2311 car, and I think he'll be more consistent, I would call it. I'm gonna pick SVG to win Rookie of the Year between the two because I think it's just gonna be one of those things where he might get 1, if not 2 road course wins, and that's gonna be enough to separate. Like, yeah, at a mile and a half, probably give me Riley Herbst every day of the week, all year, but it's gonna be SVG's ability to potentially win 3, 4, 5, 6 races, like just counting all the road courses. Like, he could have a monster here.
I mean, yeah, I mean, imagine, man, if he won all the road courses.
I mean,
Dude, that
he's
would
gonna
be
be top
crazy.
7 in all. What is there, 6 of them? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's, don't get me wrong, like a couple of the regular ones, like I'd expect Watkins Glen, Sonoma, maybe Coda, like, yeah, regulars will be
I feel
fine
like
there.
he got wrecked out of a rainy race in Chicago last year. I like him at Chicago again this year. Speaking of, I'll be at Chicago this year. I am going this year, no matter
There you go.
what.
Take my place. I'll tell you where all
Do
the
you
good spots are. Because yeah,
okay?
we were just
Do you have
there.
to? You don't have to buy tickets, do you?
If you have the passes, no.
What are the
If you just
passes?
want the general admission passes, you got to have those. Yeah, you do have to pay for something, but
What is
yeah.
it? How
So
much is it?
it's a good question. I don't know if they changed it at all. I think we paid I want to say it was like $250 just for the basic bare bones general admission
Okay.
both days. you get, obviously, it's a big park, really, is what the general admission is. And then you're on the inside of the track. So the cars are kind of going around you. It's pretty cool. And then the big concert stage is there. It's well worth it, in my opinion. I want to say it was, like $250. But
Okay.
yeah, you get
I'll
that, gets you everywhere you need to go. And then
I won't miss it again this year, because especially if this is it, I'll never forgive myself if I missed it. I think so
I'm
too.
thinking
I
this
think
one's
so
going to be
too.
the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. So I need to get
But
those.
yeah,
I need to get those
SVG
tickets
would have
soon.
won last year if he didn't get wrecked by Briscoe because of the rain.
Yeah.
Briscoe slid through water and knocked him out of it. And he was going to win that race too. But
He'd been
yeah,
2-0. He'd been 2-0 at that track. That would have been crazy. We talked about rookie of the year, our way too early rookie of the year pick. Now our way too early champion pick. Who you got?
Oh boy, it's too early to give you anything impactful.
That's the point, though. You got to give me a way too early guy. Who's your way too? It is way too early.
If they can figure out how to go fast at Phoenix, Christopher Bell.
Okay, I like that pick. I really like that pick.
I met him at the Chili Bowl. He's a great guy, but Christopher Bell.
I said it last year.
Oh, we're doing it. We're going right back to the well. It's not dry yet.
I want to, dude. I think it's him, and you know who I'm talking about, or I think it's Chase. He just has to. He just has to, Klon. There's no way Denny Hamlin retires without a championship.
I don't know, man. We've seen other people in the sport have great careers and never win one or two things. It just happens.
It's all
the championship left. Now I would put in the same bucket as that. That's the same thing.
Dude, in my honest opinion, he would go down as the greatest driver to never win a championship for me.
I mean, he kind of I think that,
I think like there's a significant. I think there's a significant gap for him. I just can't. Probably. I couldn't stomach that. Yeah, I'm going with it. I'm as of now, my pick's Denny Hamlin. I can't believe I'm saying it. I told myself last year I wasn't going to do this again. Last year was it. It's not it, Klon. It's not it. I'm going with it again. I can't believe I'm letting it ride. I am letting it ride.
I want it on the record. I don't think it's a terrible pick, but the only thing that worries me about those guys, and I think we talked about it in a couple episodes last year with some other drivers, but that old age thing, man, it just flips like a switch.
When don't you say just that.
Lose that step. I know. I'm not even. I don't know. I don't think Denny's gonna have that happen. It's always in the back of your mind now. Like there's just gonna be a day he wakes up and he just doesn't go as fast as he used to, and that day is probably closer than it was, in the middle of his career. It's closer than we think. So I don't know. I don't mind it. Again, I want it on the record. I don't think it's a bad pick.
But
I'm worried.
I know, me too. I am starting to realize I don't think he's going to do it, but I'm going to hold out hope. I'm going to hold out hope. I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to do it, but Klon, you know what? I'm ready to get hurt again. I'm ready. I am so ready to get hurt again. I'm ready to stare at that screen in the round of 8 and scream at it and say, how in the world did he not do it this year? This was the year, Klon. What the hell? I'm ready. I'm ready to get hurt again. I'm ready.
I hate to be pessimistic, and if Denny, you're ever listening to this, I love you. I think you're awesome. But if any year was going to be the year, wouldn't it have been a while ago?
Man,
looking at it logically,
Justin Allgaier, I think seeing him do it last year, the Xfinity Series, I'm like, all right, I still got hope.
It's still possible. I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. I'm not saying, again, on the record, not a bad pick. But I'm just saying. I'm worried.
Gosh.
I'm not trying to hate. I'm just genuinely worried for him.
The
thing.
It's not
a place of negativity. It's anxiety.
I see what it is. You just don't like Denny Hamlin. That's okay.
Oh God, no, love the guy,
I'm just
but
kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm hoping that we get to see it, but slowly or surely every year losing a little bit of hope. But still, you know what? Like I said, I'm ready. I'm ready to get
that's the
hurt
beauty
again.
of this. That's the beauty of this great format with this championship is
It's anybody's.
all you got to do is be halfway decent, and you got a shot. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So as long as
If Joey
Denny's still just
Logano can win
halfway
it,
decent
if Joey Logano can win it last year, Denny can win it this year.
as the
You know,
15th
it's
best driver in the sport, yeah, he wrangled her right in. All right, we're not
man.
going there again. I'm not having that conversation tonight. But
Yeah. Well, it's an odd year. He can't win it this year. It's an odd year. That won't happen. Right now,
yeah,
I would put any amount of money you want on it right now that he is not going to win the championship. That Joey will not win the championship this year. However, when we walk in this a year from today, or whenever it is that we host our show for the following season of this, I'm going to look right into this camera right here, and I'm going to say, Klon, you know who my pick is? It's an even year. It's Joey Logano. That's my pick. He's a 4-time champ next year.
God, I hope they're really looking at changing that. Well, they won't be changing that format for a
Not
little
this
bit
year.
yet. You know,
Not this year. Not this year,
but
unfortunately.
we can
But
all. My fingers are already crossed. I might start crossing my toes pretty quick. That happens, but that might hurt after a while. But
yeah, right.
it's worth it.
Yes. Oh man. Well, we got a race this weekend. We're back. Green flag drops this weekend for a really cool clash.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. I'm totally on board with bringing the Busch Clash back to Daytona and having the Speed Weeks at Daytona. So down for it. Not saying that at all, but I really do enjoy going to a track like Bowman Gray that we haven't been in so
yeah.
long, that has so much racing history, that has so much like genuine racing history with the late model stocks, with all that stuff. You know, like it's going to be cool. It's not a track that's sat empty for all these years. There's guys out there on Thursday nights that are just going at each other's throats Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I am excited to see our guys go this weekend and race there. So I'll ask who you think's gonna win. I'll start with, what are you most excited about for this weekend first?
To see Bowman Gray, I think that's we definitely had that conversation on here before too. I mentioned that I want the Speed Weeks of Daytona back and traditionally everything that came with it. But if there's going to be a clash outside of it, if it's going to continue to be an event outside of Daytona, this is the only way I want it. Like, let's go to local short tracks, burn them down for a weekend, give you a taste of the old fashioned stuff we haven't seen in a while. And then let's go to Daytona. That's the only other way. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see. You hear so much, like you said, about Bowman Gray. They still race there and all this history with modifieds and over
The
the years,
Madhouse.
everything. And to finally see it on a race like NASCAR or something that, I grew up watching, kind of a cool worlds colliding moment.
Can you hear me? You go
Oh
out?
yeah, buddy. Oh yeah. No,
There we
you're
go. I
still
thought
there.
we lost you. Sorry.
Oh no.
The screen
We're
glitched
back.
over here. We're
Oh
back.
well, yeah, my stop motion book got stuck. We're back.
That might be what it is. My screen glitched, so I was like, "Oh, am I gone?" No, okay, we're here. All
It's
right.
day
Well,
one. Day one.
we'll pick our winner for this weekend, and then I've got a quick game for you here before we go.
Oh, this will be
Okay.
good.
So
Oh,
it's a surprise game. I did not tell you about this because
yeah.
I wanted to surprise you with it. Okay. So
Right.
first off, who wins this weekend at Bowman Gray? We'll both give our answers for that, and then our surprise game.
Yeah, no bias to this one either from the offseason I had and things I got to go do. Kyle Busch wins the Clash this weekend. I think it's just time for the old man to lay it on the kids again, to take it to them.
I like that. I like that pick. Now, of course, that I said we're gonna play a game, I can't find where I left it.
That's probably
Okay,
better. That's probably for the better,
that's
whatever the
probably for
game
the
is.
better. It probably
Don't need
is.
to embarrass myself that bad the first night.
Well, I'll find it here in a second. I love the Kyle Busch pick. That's great, and I do agree with you that he gets a win early this season. But I think it's south of Bowman Gray, a little south
Oh
there,
yeah,
down
maybe you're
I-95.
gonna be there in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that would be. Are you? Wait, are you going?
No,
Oh,
I
I thought you were
wish.
saying you're going. Dude,
No,
that's
no, no.
that's what we need to
Where we're
do.
going in a couple weeks. Yeah. Hey, if I fell into the money and which booking it this late, you need to fall into almost double the money. Yeah, it'd be possible, but yeah, don't
Yeah.
don't have that
Aren't
right
we
now.
aren't we going in the next couple of years? Didn't we talk about that at the Twins game?
My body is planning on being there in 2027 is the next time. I think we maybe talked about that. So that's a couple of years. Not obviously next year,
Shoot.
but
Shoot. We might just have to, Klon. That'd be fun.
it's calling my
But
name
no,
again. I think that's part
I
of the
know,
problem.
dude.
But
It's so cool down there. I love it. It's just like the whole atmosphere and everything like that. It's great. I miss it. But
yes, couldn't agree more.
anyway, sorry. Back to the point. We're getting so far off track here. That's my fault, though.
Day one, we're good.
Day one,
We're
we're
better.
back.
We're better when we're not paying attention. That's the thing.
We're so back. My headphones are falling off my head. Okay, so my winner for Bowman Gray is a guy we just talked about a little bit ago who has a lot of success when we head to a new track. And I think that has to do with because he's just a great racer. I think he adjusts really well, and that is Joey Logano. I think Joey
Yeah,
Logano adjusts really well to new
it's a good
tracks
pick.
we go to. Dominated North Wilkesboro last year. Was really
Also a good
successful
point.
the first year of the Bristol Dirt Race. He's just a guy who adapts really well and races really well. So I like Joey Logano to go out and win this weekend at Bowman Gray. That would be cool to see him win. But our game here.
Let's hear it.
So I found a page on here that had NASCAR rankings, and I, for the life of me, can't find it. So what I'm going to do is
Oh
tweak
boy,
the game to make it my own. I'm going to have you pick drivers.
great.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to give you two names, and then I need you to give me who you think will be more successful this year. And at the end of the year, we're going to go back over them and see where we were, where we weren't.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
So to start off, who has more success this year? Ryan Blaney or Kyle Larson?
Ugh. Well, more success. Are we talking for all these? Are we talking like who goes further in the playoffs? Who wins more races? Finishes higher in the points, like we used to do.
That's a great question. I didn't think about it this far, Klon.
That's
Let's
all right.
do who goes farther in the playoffs.
Farther in the playoffs. Boy, I'll say Kyle this year. I just think it's one of those ebbs and flows where Ryan's maybe due to have a down that late magic he finds in the playoffs last couple, maybe just doesn't quite find it, and Kyle just capitalizes on some of the mistakes and things he didn't quite last year. So Kyle.
Okay, I like that pick. Next two, Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick.
Tough one. This is a tough one. Probably Tyler Reddick. I just think, oh boy, I hate that pick. But we're stuck with it. I'd say Tyler Reddick. Just, I don't know. Finds a eyelash somewhere and beats him by that much. I don't know. That's about it.
Bubba Wallace or Austin Cindric?
Bubba Wallace. I think it's the same thing as Austin. You could say the same thing about both of them, but I think this is the year he takes a little bit of a step forward. The 23 finally finds it on speed, hits it, crew chief change. They just kind of start finding another level.
All right. Denny Hamlin or Christopher Bell?
Oh, Christopher Bell picked to win the championship.
All right, C-Bell, I like that. And our final one here, Chase Briscoe in the new really good equipment that he's in now. I guess would you say it's really good equipment? I'd say. It's
really good
equipment. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Your top 8 car in the sport probably.
Yeah. Championship level move, or
probably
our previous champion, Joey Logano.
Boy, another good one. Jeez, you made these all by yourself. This is very, very well done.
This guy did his NASCAR power rankings on Instagram. And I was like, let me pick some of the guys that are like right above and below each other. And I will have that, like, I really agree with, that are really close, that like I think Klon would struggle picking between.
You nailed it. These are good. I think I would go with, I'm gonna go with Briscoe for the sake of making it fun, like you said. even year. So
Yep.
maybe Joey just doesn't come to life late like he did. And I am very excited. Like we talked about, excited to see this year and things to come. Like let's go in the 19 is something I'm actually pretty excited about. I think he's gonna fit the spot very well. Like I don't think you're gonna notice a big drop off for that team.
All right, and then I lied to you. My final one here, and I just came up with
All
this
right.
because I was just thinking
This will
about
be
it.
sweet.
Which of the Dillon brothers, Ty or Austin Dillon, has a better average finish at the end of the year?
I think Austin will have a better average finish, but it'll be where we kind of probably imagine it's going to be. Not super
A high number.
competitive. It's not going to be. He'll be.
Listen to you
he'll
dancing around that and answering that as kind as you possibly can. Not super competitive.
He'll be further away from first, like an average finish of first. He'll be further away than he will be his brother.
Okay.
So he'll be like, yeah, say he'll be closer to Ty than he will be having an average finish at first.
Okay.
So closer to the back is what I'm saying. Because that
You'll-
nine, what's Ty driving the 10? That car's, I mean, that'll be all right. But Austin's gonna be pretty close to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. All right. First episode back of the new season. We're ready to rock and roll, dude. We've got a green flag that's coming our way in just 2 days, 3 days.
I have to start singing in the car again or something. My voice is feeling it. And this isn't even gonna be that long of an episode.
No, we're about 10, 15 minutes short of where we normally are.
Yeah, it's a good first one to be back, I guess. Good thing we kept the schedule to what we did, but geez, I'm feeling it already. It's
gotta drink some lotion after this to just lubricate those vocal cords.
That might be maybe that's the key to saving me here. But yeah, geez, wore out.
Well, I'll be in your neck of the woods this weekend. I'm going to my first ever Timberwolves game to see my first ever NBA game, believe it or not. I have never been to an NBA. I am a huge sports fan. Watch all sports, love all sports.
Never guessed.
There isn't a sport that I won't watch or love. But I just, I grew up in a family that wasn't like super sports driven. So we just never really went to any NBA games or anything. I went to an NFL game when I was a kid, and then we went to me and my dad went to a couple NASCAR races, but that was it. Other than that, all the MLB, no, good stuff. And then
that's right.
The good stuff. Right. And I went to 2 MLB games this previous season for the first time. So I'm knocking out the NBA this year.
I would have never guessed you had never been to half the stuff. Like,
dude, I still have never been to an NHL game. Like, if we would have gone back,
if you're making the road trip across town, like, not gonna lie, you'll have fun at the Wolves game tomorrow night. But those Minnesota Wild games are different, dude. That's about as good as it gets. Oh yeah, they say it's one of the best venues in all of the NHL. I would argue it's probably one of the best game day experiences in all of the 4 major sports.
What?
Like it's good.
I didn't even know that. We gotta go.
Vikings are really good too, but
I've heard the Vikings like pregame stuff is great, and our sports guys all say that US Bank is like the best stadium to go to and work at, because it's like, I guess their hospitality room and the way that they treat their media and keep the media up and everything like that is awesome. They all say so. They've got high praise for it.
Everything you hear about it, I mean, as a fan, I think it's great. I love going, but yeah, everything you hear from media or front office stuff and players and teams, like, it's always such positive reviews. But yeah, no, the game day experience as a fan is unbelievable.
Okay.
If you're a Vikings fan, I'm sure it's not quite that unbelievable if you're not a Vikings fan, but in particular, a Packers fan, you probably will hate it.
What if you like that
so don't
team?
Go.
What if you like that team?
Probably hate it. That's why I kind of refuse to go to Lambeau a little bit, because it's like they better not be playing the Vikings.
Dude, we got to get you to Lambeau.
I'll go, but I don't know if I want to go and they play the Vikings. I feel like it's just going to be like, it's not like, I want to enjoy Lambeau for the positive historical experience it is.
Yeah. We'll go tour it then.
Vikings. Well, I want to watch. If I'm going to watch a game. But
yeah, it's true, dude. Speaking of touring Lambeau, I have bad news. I have really bad news that I just figured out the other day.
Your ownership means nothing.
No, it means everything.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. Never mind.
that's blasphemy.
You just learned, so I thought maybe it was more recent information for you guys still, but you got it.
Dude, Spunk Days is the same weekend this year as my bachelor party. I'm not gonna be able to make it to Spunk Days.
No.
Yeah. And
We
you're not
should
gonna be
edit
able to
this
make it to my
podcast
bachelor
without that
party.
information.
I
God.
know. So I was literally like, I was with Austin and I was like, dude, I'm so excited. Like, bachelor party's gonna be great. I'm inviting you and Klon. We're all gonna have a good time. He's like, what's the weekend? And I said the dates, and he was like, oh. And I was like, what? He's like, dude, I think that's Spunk Days. And I'm like, no.
Well,
And he looked at the date.
if he Googled it already then. Because Spunk Days is
Well, I think
actually
I think he texted you. It's like June 22nd or something.
Spunk Days will be. No, it's always the third. It's weird this year. Oh, that's why it's weird, is because the 7th is a Saturday. I thought it was the 1st is a Saturday, so it's early. Never mind. Yeah, he's right. 21st, 22nd. Yep. Okay.
Unfortunate. It happens.
That
He
sucks.
also proposed the idea, of us doing like a secondary weekend one with just me, you, and him, going and doing something. So we could make that
Sounds
work
like
as
good
well.
time.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good time.
Go crush some bursts,
That's easy activity there. Yeah.
That'll be fun. But oh man, we're back, Klon. We are so back.
All the way back.
Nothing can stop us. We're all the way back.
Well, my voice might stop us pretty quick here. But
you're gonna need one of those talking boxes by the end of this.
Honestly, just gonna hook up Siri to do the Google Translate and just type out the whole thing and just have her read it at this point.
Let's go. Well, great first episode back. We only got off topic a little bit, just a little bit. We're starting to fine tune it. We got to figure out how to stay on topic.
It's technically still the off season.
It is. We're just discussing part of this. I would say this was 70% NASCAR, 30% us just having a conversation, and that's what it's all about. That's what this is. It's a podcast. It's a conversation.
That's right. It wouldn't be good if it wasn't a conversation.
Exactly. Oh, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this first episode back. The season has officially started. We got a green flag dropping on Sunday. And then we've got 36 races that tail behind that. So I'm pumped, Klon. I'm pumped. We are so back. And I was playing with the rubber band this whole time and it just snapped.
'Tis the season. Well, the rubber band thing, I can't help you with. You're on your own there. We're gonna need to get you some new toys back there for.
I know, right? I'm sitting here fidgeting with it the whole time.
An episode.
Oh man, thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging with us on this one. We're just getting everything going. First episode back. We appreciate everybody for taking time out of their day to listen to us. Yeah, we didn't even hit the record button this whole time.
Could you imagine,
dude? Oh my god, I'd be so mad. I would be pissed. Dude.
Wouldn't shock me.
It wouldn't shock me at all. That would be like, dude, that would be like perfect. Honestly, I can't believe we haven't done that yet. Like that, honestly, to me is kind of surprising that we haven't got an hour through an episode and looked at the clock and been like, oh man, and I go to push in recording and I'm like, oh, start recording. Whoops.
Well, I'm glad you're the one that hits the button, because if I was the one that hit the button, I imagine we would have done that a few times by now.
Probably. Well, good times. Klon, I'm glad we had a great offseason, but I'm ready to get back in the grind of this, man.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's going to be awesome. Let's do it. We're going to have a great season.
Yeah,
Denny Hamlin or Chase Elliott is going to win the championship this year. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Christopher Bell.
It's going to be or C-Bell. C-Bell could do it. C-Bell could do it. So we'll see. He's due. He is due. He really is. I feel like a lot of the JGR crew, especially like last year, every one of them was due for some kind of success.
Ty Gibbs has more success this year. I think that car is going to find some life. And
Ty Gibbs take a step forward.
C-Bell on top.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Please be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff on social media. Tell your friends about us and your mom. Tell your mom about us. We'd appreciate that very much. And your mom would too. So appreciate that. You all have a great night. We will see you guys next week, or most likely next week, maybe the week after, before the 500. So We'll see you then. Tell your mom about us. We appreciate it.